Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rise and Grind. I'm 72 the Architect, aka Jason B, producing for you live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Clapper. That's right. So today we're going to talk about, do you balance life better than you do business? That's really the primary subject, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about how we can really look at things and sometimes review some of the things I've already discussed on Rise and Grind. So stay tuned here in just a moment. We'll be right back. All right, everybody. So we're back again on Rise and Grind. It's been a little bit since I've made some on YouTube, but I'm creating a simulcast for several different platforms. And I am on Clapper, so you can find me at 72 The Architect on Clapper, and it's produced live. So also on YouTube and Facebook, the handle, the social media is all the same. So yeah, so that's what we're here to do. So the question of the day is do you balance, life better than the balance sheets of business? And I think that's a brilliant question to ask, especially this morning. And it comes from the Daily Stoic, a book that I love reading and reviewing. It gets me in the mindfulness of every day and philosophy. It takes questions and thoughts from dead Stoics and men of the past and women as well. So today's quote comes from page 116 of the Daily Stoic, and it says, "Become an expert in what matters." Now, Ryan happens to quote Seneca on his book of Brevity of Life, 18.3b. He says, "Believe me, it's better to produce the balance sheets of your own life than that of a grain of market." Hmm. That's kind of interesting. And I'll say it for many reasons why it's so interesting, because you know, many of us are driven to get wealth, to have securities, have a home, have the access of, yes, drive the cars that we want, go to the places we want to do, associate with the people that praise us and appreciate us. And these are very important things. But at what exchange do you give away that part of your life? And how far do you go? Do you really go just after a single career, one revenue stream? Is one income sufficient enough in your household? I think those are very important things, so to speak. But Ryan happens to go and explain the quote just a little bit more. And he says basically the things that some people manage to be experts: fantasy sports, celebrity trivia, um, derivatives, commodity markets, 13th century hygiene habits of clergy. But we can get very good at what we've been paid to do and adapt a hobby we wish we could get paid to do. Your own lives and habits and tendencies might be mystery to us. But Seneca was writing this important reminder that his father-in-law, who had happened, who, as it happened, was at time of a change of Rome's granary. But then his position was revoked for political purposes. Who really cares? Seneca was saying, now you can focus that energy on your own inner life. I think that's very important that he points out, just because you reach a pinnacle, you get into a leadership, you get into a company, but then you're removed or you're outsourced. Maybe you're not as important as you thought you were. And you look around you, your family's there or they're not there. All those hours of work that you put into to support yourselves and those who you love. Me, I'm a father of three, and I have three wonderful girls, and they all each have one of their own minds. But the one thing that I will say is there is no replacement of investment in time in them. There is no going back when they're only little for a little while. When they're teenagers, they're only teenagers for a little while. But when they're adults, is all the investment that you put in a lifetime for them in return. Many of us as parents, we don't see that return right away. It takes some time. Even to me, to appreciate my own parents, who I am, graced enough to have them in my life, whatever capacity they have served, I appreciate them. But then when you look at some people who balance really great business leaders, CEOs, managers, directional leaders, thought provokers, those people, are they lacking maybe in their personal, maybe they don't have the loved ones that they, so to speak, wanted to have? I did all this work for you. Well, see what I provided. But the love, maybe the intention and attention to you could be quite different. That's right. Many of us want the balance of all of it. We want balance of love, money, friendship, reputation, fulfillment in our work, right? I think that's a very important thing. But at what exchanges? When do you give more to your family in time versus where you give business? Some industries demand a lot and they require a lot of hours of study. And even today, when we see singles nowadays, a lot of the singles out there, they're having a hard time identifying with each other. They're having such a hard time. Who will be the best ally and best partner for me? Or maybe it's just easier for me just to take care of my own, not deal with the stress. Those are interesting things. Now, a few weeks ago, I happened to cover Robin Sharma's Internal Empires. He talked about having the soul set, the health set, the mindset. These were very, very important things. And I really appreciated the way that he presented them in such a way where it got me to think, when I'm trying to do so much in business, is my family lacking? Is the foundation that I built really there? And we get so caught up in a lot of the things, the goings on. We don't want to be outperformed by someone and we don't want to be replaced. We want to make sure that, finding that balance, is it possible? Of course it is, but it's the investment of yourself. I know one thing in my family, that the really key essentials of making a family great is the love, where I can be affectionate to my daughters or even to my partner. Can I also, when a client comes to me and says, "Hey, Jason, I need your help. Can you help me with your expertise?" And how much time it's required. We don't like to tell people to have to wait, but some things do, and all things. Can an email wait? Or can a task wait? Do we stack too much on our plate before we can attend to business or family? What about when your daughter's picking at you and saying, "Hey, dad, can we go play some ball? Can we kick the ball around? Daddy, what are we going to do?" These are all questions I've been asked. And I love them so much. And of course, I want to build them a legacy they can be proud of. But see, I learned this a long time ago. You'll never truly see your own legacy. The point that Ryan happens to make, excuse me, he says, and he finishes up his page. He says, "At the end of your time on this planet, what expertise is going to be more valuable? Your understanding of matters of living or dying, or your knowledge of the 87 bears? Which will help your children more? An insight and happiness and meaningful of that which follows the breaking in the political news of every day for 30 years?" That's why I'll give you a few recommendations. Here's my normal day. I start usually at 4:30, and there's a reason why. Because the number one complaint that I've heard amongst my colleagues and friends is I never have enough time for myself. I'm always serving somebody else. I'm always exhausted. I was that guy saying those same things. But what I did was I was like, where something's got to give. I don't have enough energy for myself. I don't have enough energy for business. I feel stretched and thinned out. And even my love life was even lacking. But when I took a stand and said, okay, enough is enough, I took an evaluation. Where can I segment my time where I can find my interests so that when I serve others, I'm actually balanced? I'm giving you a perspective. I come on here on Clapper and YouTube and I make my stuff and I give you insights of some of the Stoics and even looking at Ryan's book and and so many others. But I take the time at 50 years old. Well, how much time do I really have left? Youth is not necessarily something that's really on most of our sides. We need to think about, the average experience needs to be the most fulfilling experience. When I attend to a client and I talk to you one-on-one and I say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do these things," and I give you a time date. I've balanced and looked at all of my calendars and my time and I understand what the task is at hand. But for many of us, that's so very difficult. How do I get that part of my life back after I've given so much? Like when you get off work. Many of us parents, single or even together, when you're attending to your family at the end of the day, you're exhausted. And we give away leverages. We eat fast foods. We are looking at our phones. We are looking at medias. We are looking at things that could actually maybe spark an interest or an investment so we don't have to work so hard. Well, I can tell you from experience, the way you start your day should be the exact way you finish your day. It's very simple. So when I get up at 4, I don't attend to my phone. I don't attend to any social media or emails. I take the morning to appreciate and stretch. I go exercise. I go for a morning walk to give my mind time to acclimate. I don't grab the cup of coffee. Excuse me. Still fighting the remnants of pneumonia. So that's the other thing. Pardon me just for a second. That's the other thing. Drink your water. Mm. Anyhow, I take the time to invest in the body and invest in the mind and the soul. These are if without all of these things, you're a hot mess. You're probably telling people I'm so tired and don't have the wherewithal. And by the time you end up your day, the last thing you want to do is tune into anyone. But see, when you're in charge of families, when you're taking care of your loved ones, when you're taking care of other people, when you're clocked out, so to speak, you want to be prepared. And then by the time the weekend hits, you're exhausted going into the weekend, so you need rest and relaxation. I need a vacation. How many times does that come out of your conversational mouth, even to your kids? And all your kids are asking for is your time. Hey, dad, I want to show you this. Dad, you can we look at my homework? Can we practice? Can we go out in the backyard? But no, they're not doing that as much. What's happening is actually something more sinister. Yeah, you're an option. You give them that device, and everything, and even your spouse becomes optioned, managed, time, talking. Even seen people talk to each other through a text. That's pretty sad, if you ask me. Take back your time by your balance. If you can put so much money and time and thought effort into your balance sheets of work, yep, I'm definitely in the black, making money, then you should be able to balance all other things by separating yourself, giving yourself some break. Maybe not overwhelming and over adopting so many thoughts and things. These things can be key to and essential to you, but you got to be willing to make the investment. That's right, the initial investment. Because when you get older, you're going to want to know your kids and the relationship you had with them is going to actually come right back to you. They love you. Dad, thank you so much for being able to take care of my college. Or thank you for giving me guidance when maybe my head was so confused. That happens a lot to a lot of us. So I want you to go away and think about this question really carefully. Maybe it could be a journaling prompt to think about how you apply yourself to all areas of your life. If you're putting 8 hours of work or 10 hours of work into, business, what are you doing to other facets of life? Because there's only 24 hours. And yes, you do need rest, you do need sustenance, you need nutrition, you need exercise, but it's how you segment these things out. Longer days at work does not equate to value at home or in yourself. Many of my friends who are single complain, how do I find that right kind of person? I want to know, sure, I want to look at this analytically. Are they going to fit in my algorithm of my life? What do they have to share before I think about what I can share? Wrong thought. And what I can tell you, singles out there, do not think of 50-50. In a relationship, like many people will say, it's 100-100. Think about you're able to be yourself, to be happy, to invest in your energy. to be able to recess. One of the things when I get home to my partner is no matter what has happened in the day, regardless of a client making me happy or sad, I always ask when I come in that door, what can I do to be of service to you? Is there anything I can help with? Take out the trash. And sometimes it's, yeah, clean out the cat litter. But hey, that's just me saying. But also, I kiss my little one. I greet my partner. I make sure that actualize them and tell them how much I do appreciate them. Have that 5-10 minute conversation. And in return, my partner will say, "Babe, go ahead and sit down, relax for a little bit. You've been at work all day. Are you okay? How are you doing?" That's the joint investment. But it also deals with the problems that we internally sometimes hold down. Those arguments you don't want to have, those discussions, the resentments, and those things. When do they get addressed? That's why it's so essential to have balance in all of this. So, just as a reminder, I'll read The Internal Empires that Robin Sharma wrote. And you can check me out on YouTube and you'll be able to see probably what I'm talking about. Let's see, Sharma's Internal Empires. There we go. And I love this diagram that the four internal empires. So I'll review them real quick for you and go over this. He wrote you can best know, he's best known for writing the 5 a.m. Club. So if you're looking checking me out on YouTube, I'll share the screen. Let's see. Nope, Windows here we go. Share the screen. All right. So what he says is, and for those on Clapper, I'll read it to you. The four internal empires are based on this mindset. That means the psychology, the heart set. That means your emotional holdings. That's right, your emotional processor, releasing, those things that you hold up that don't really belong. Your emotional intelligence and gratitude. Number three, the health set. That's your physicality, right? So this means your exercise, your nutrition, your hygiene, and yes, very, very important, your relaxation. Number four is soul set. And this is spirituality. You can be a Christian, you can be a Buddhist, you can be a Muslim. You can not even have to necessarily believe in a God, but a process that actually helps simplify your ego. That's right. And truth connection, your connection to the real world. The shortness of life is based on your connection to it. But I want to go back to the first one, the mindset. That means, what are you training yourself? How do you train and how to deal with things? That means reading and learning is very important to stimulate your mind. Conversation, fulfilling conversations and not idle gossips. Reflections, thoughts of the day. This is very important when you write your journal every day. Meditation. Now, what is meditation? This is a very, very important one. And I didn't figure it out until later. And meditation is an internal reflection of the events and your beliefs and your thought processes. Now, some people will say, well, is prayer and meditation the same thing? They could be. It depends on how you align it. But meditation is the reflection of the chains of events and the thoughts of how you actually develop yourself. And the prayer can be the ask. I really found that interesting when I forget who exactly told me that. They said, hey, prayers for the ask, meditation is for me to reflect and think about the investments of my days and nights of events. But then there's one other part about the mindset. It's the visualization, actually seeing things through and completed. I think that's very, very important. Visualizing your life to be happy now, but not later. How many of us say, well, when I get to this level of success, I'll be happy. But then you get there and you find that your platform is very lonely. That's right. That's where you look at the influences, right? Look at the influences, how the media attaches to your attention. Maybe the news is not the greatest thing to listen to at the end of your night. Someone got murdered. Trump is up for an indictment. Ukraine is at war. Think about all those things that are attacking your attention, or the latest sale. Oh my God, did you realize that what Joe and Betty were fighting about on social media? Maybe tuning that out to create an environment for your mindset to thrive. And that goes into the last part of mindset. Is there performance? Are you getting the return of your performance in your daily life? It takes the investment. I'm so tired, Jason. When do I have time for my kids? When do I have time for it all? They're getting on my nerves. But how you train them is how they're going to live. And this is one thing that I can speak with experience as a father. The more you leave and a device like even our phones and our YouTubes and all that great stuff, the more that you leave something to mentor them, the more disconnected you are. And then you also from the world. And then you look at, why do I not get the praise and the love that I really needed? It comes from the internal investment, the desire. Your works never end. And the first thing that I do when I get up in the morning is I'm like, thank God I'm alive. The Stoics were very emphatic. Like Ryan Holiday would say, amor fati, you know, the fate of life. You know, you got to think about, you don't are not guaranteed tomorrow. You could die tonight. And as long as I live and appreciate the now, that all parts of my life, sitting down and reading with your kid, having that dialogue, and even your partner, how are they doing? Maybe they're stuffing things down that are unnecessary. I think that happens to a lot of us. Checking in. Is there anything I can do? Now, guys, we're not always great at reading social cues. And ladies, guess what? We're not mind readers. As men, we love direct contact. That means make a point, not a story. If someone's asking for an explanation, I think this will help most couples. If you're making a clear point, then more than likely you're not assuming, you're seeing the results of communication. But nowadays we seem to be hesitant, and I don't want to hurt this person if I say it the wrong way. It doesn't matter about how you say it. It matters more that what makes the point, the connection. No, I'm not really happy with this kind of thing. Or yeah, you know what? I'm really excited about this weekend. Like this weekend, I'll be going to San Rafael with my lady, and we'll be going to this thing called the New Living Expo. Let me pull it up on my YouTube. Let's see, New Living Expo, and I'll probably see if I can share it with my screen. And it has all these amazing speakers. And for like 20, 25 bucks, me and my girl are going to love. So I'm going to actually pay to go listen to, remember John Gray? John Gray is the writer of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Yeah, I'm going to go listen to him speak about sex and relationships. The connection point is something that's very valuable that we can't always guarantee in our lives. So let me see if I can share this with the screen real quick. Let's see. So if you want to check it out, it goes for 4 days, April 14th through the 16th in Marin Center, San Rafael, California. Personal empowerment, holistic health, new sciences. They have a lot of great speakers today, tomorrow, and Sunday. And it might be a new way of thinking or learning about meditation or how to take back your power. So if you want to check that out, I would highly suggest that, and could be a benefit to you if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area. And if not, I'm sure they have these other expos around the country. So it's Friday, and I'm going to bring this to a close. It's Friday, and I want you to think about, what can I start in today's balance sheet for my life? How can I actually put time into my loved ones just as much as passion and strength and in training that I've put into my profession? It asks those questions daily. How can you be of service? Appreciate, embrace, sit at the dinner table. Look at each other, talk to each other. Don't make vague statements for misinterpretation to take hold. I think that's a very, very important recommendation in all of this. When we look at what's vague, we look to understand of what can be done, and be mindful of the language you use with your loved ones. Don't say you should, I could, well, I hope so. Well, take some time. Take time. Look at that investment. You know what? For the next 3 weeks, every single weekend, I'm going to put time into my loved ones. And no matter what that cost is, they will have the best of me also along with my work. Well, that's all the time that I have for Rise and Grind. If you love checking me out, and like this show, so every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I will be producing live on Clapper for sure. It's my new experience. So if you, those of you on YouTube, go look up Clapper, look up 72 The Architect. If you're not following me on YouTube as well, you can find me, my handle, 72 The Architect. I have plenty of episodes for people to enjoy and check out. I would love your support. All tips are appreciated. And if you want to be a guest, send me a message through 72thearchitect at gmail.com and you'll be able to will have that experience. I do interview from people time to time from all walks of life. Anyhow, that's all the time that I have for today. I hope you all have a great one. Thank you so much. And Red Rose, thank you for the Clapper and all the support that I'm getting on Clapper. It's new. You want to be a part of that live experience, come back and join. I definitely appreciate you. Y'all take care. Have a great one. Let's see.